Good day, everyone. Today we were going to discuss the future world tourism and hospitality issues. I am Michaela S. Sanchez, the first reporter, and my topic is all about safety and security in tourism and hospitality, the impact of the world's economy on tourism and hospitality, and managing sustainable tourism in a responsible manner. First is the safety and security in tourism and hospitality. According to EDGEL, the first issue of universal concern is the relationship of tourism and hospitality to terrorism, or in the larger context, to safety and security. Safety and security in tourism and hospitality will be the greatest challenge for tourism policy and planning for many years to come. Safety and security are vital to providing quality in tourism. More than any other economic activity, the success or failure of a tourism destination depends on being able to provide a safe and secure environment for visitors. Safety and security, particularly from crime and terrorism, have been very important issues in the tourism and hospitality industry for many decades. Crime against tourists such as robbery, murder, and kidnapping are also important concerns for destination planners. Ganon kaimportante ang issue na to, lalo na sa tourism and hospitality industry. Laganap ngayon ang robbery, murder, kidnapping, at iba pang mga krimen, lalo na sa mga turista. Isa ito sa dapat pagtuunan ng pansin, lalo na sa mga destinations. Kasi if ever na may nangyaring masama at nakarating sa international media, malaki ang impact niya hindi lamang sa specific na destination, kundi pati sa buong bansa. Like for example, yung nangyari sa Marawi. Mindanao area siya, 'di ba? So syempre, yung mga tao sa ibang lugar matatakot na pumunta dito dahil sa history ng gera and bombing. Hindi lang foreigners yung natatakot, kundi pati yung local tourist na rin. Dahil sa ganitong issue, nasisira yung image ng isang bansa. Just like what happened in the United States during September 2011. Inatake ng mga terorista yung bansa nila kaya natakot na pumunta yung mga tao kasi nandoon na yung thought na baka madamay sila at hindi sila ligtas. Dahil doon, travelers now demand security measures. Safety and security must be included in the destination development strategies, especially in areas where terror and danger exist. The following are important items to be included in a destination security strategy. Dr. Peter Tarlow, an expert on tourism and security issues, proposed these points. First, destinations and attractions must compete on their readiness to keep visitors safe and secure. Second, destinations that provide sound security coupled with customer service will prosper. Third, the lack of a comprehensive approach will create a false sense of security. Fourth, all members of the local tourism and hospitality system should be included when developing a comprehensive tourism and hospitality strategy. Fifth, media coverage of a local incident can spread the negative public relations effects to the entire continent. Sixth, the safety development needs of the components of the visitor experience, including transportation, infrastructure, accommodations, highway rest areas, and food sources should be assessed. And lastly, establish a place for visitors to turn to if a terrorist attack were to occur, and openly communicate the location and purpose of the center in advance in case of any threats. It is very important to make each and everyone feel safe and secured. They visit the destination so that they can relax and unwind. So these points should be addressed and implemented so that the tourist will enjoy and relax without worrying their safety. Destinations that can counterbalance the force of terrorism are those destinations where tourism and hospitality will continue to prosper. Keep in mind that safety and security lie at the heart of the prosperity of any nation. Let's proceed to the impact of the world's economy on tourism and hospitality. The world economy has a major impact on the future of international travel. With a flourishing world economy, more people will travel. If there is a greater distribution of a country's wealth, more people will have the financial means to travel. Kapag ang isang bansa ay malaki ang income at yung mga taong naninirahan ay maraming pera, meron silang kakayahang mag-travel sa iba't ibang bansa. It has a big impact sa isang bansa dahil kapag maganda ang ekonomiya ng isang bansa, maganda rin ang estado ng buhay ng mga taong nakatira doon. Makakatulong ito sa bansang pupuntahan dahil gagastos sila ng pera doon, kaya mas pinopropose na yung mga nasa developing countries mag-focus sa tourism and hospitality industry dahil malaki yung impact nito. We all know that the tourism and hospitality industry is one of the source of income of every country. Just like here in the Philippines, our country is a tropical country. We have many beaches here, parks, and historical destinations. If international tourists will go here, it will benefit not just the destination, but also our country. If the destinations will grow and expand, it will give many people a job. It will help them to have an income that will provide for their daily needs. Tourism and hospitality industry is one of the helpful tools that develops a country's economy that can be used to alleviate poverty. I can say that it's true. As I have said earlier, if the destinations will expand, it will give more job opportunities. If that happens, many people will have a job and will have an income. The UNWTO strongly encouraged tourism growth to the world's poorest countries to bring out economic well-being, social development, and mutual understanding. If other regional organizations such as the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation or APEC, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development or OECD, and others will place tourism and hospitality as a high priority, the economies of many countries will be strengthened. The third issue is managing sustainable tourism in a responsible manner. Sustainable tourism is of utmost importance at present and in the future. Respect for our natural and built environments will be the country's legacy for future generations. It has been a major concern for destination planning as well as regional and national policy making in the last decade. Sustainable tourism is basically the concept of traveling and exploring a destination as a tourist while respecting the culture, environment, and people of that destination. Responsible tourism is the concept of creating better places for people to live in and better places for people to visit. One of the examples that related to this issue is the Boracay Island. On April 24, 2018, the Philippine government announced that Boracay would be closed for up to 6 months starting on April 26. Pollution became one of the main problems in Boracay Island. Hindi nila na-maintain at napangalagaan kaya ito pansamantalang pinasara. Due to the closure, more than 36,000 jobs will be affected and another 19,000 workers such as beach masseuses, tattoo artists, and vendors will be affected. Kaya napaka-importante na as a tourist or as a local people na nakatira sa mga lugar na yon, ingatan natin yung lugar para at least nakikinabang tayo at the same time napapangalagaan natin yung lugar. We should know and follow the rules and regulation of the place so that we can help sustaining the beauty of our environment. The aim of sustainable tourism is to increase the benefits and to reduce the negative impacts caused by tourism for destinations. This can be achieved by protecting natural environments, wildlife, and natural resources when developing and managing tourism activities. And that's the end of my part. I will now give the floor to Miss Claire Justin Ruz to discuss the other future world tourism and hospitality issues.
This is the fourth issue in tourism and hospitality world. There will be greater efforts toward partnership of the private and public sectors to alleviate poverty, develop policies to combat the negative impacts on tourism and support the economic, socio-cultural, and environmental contributions of tourism to the world. Ang tourism policy and strategic planning ay importante kasi habang nagpaplano ka kung paano mo i-develop or aayusin ang isang lugar, kailangan nag-i-imply ka rin ng policy na hindi maapektuhan yung kalikasan. Maraming umuunlad na lugar pero ang kapalit naman neto ay ang pagkasira ng kalikasan. Kailangan mayroong rules and regulations na sundin, and at the same time, kailangan may plano para ma-develop ang tourism sectors, like for example, may mga places na mahirap puntahan. Kailangan nilang magplano kung paano mapapaunlad ang kanilang lugar, kagaya na lang ng pagpapaganda ng mga kalsada, magkaroon ng accommodations through online para less hassle sa mga tourists, and also makapag-book sila ahead of time. Kailangan mapanatili ang ganda ng isang lugar at importante ang pagpaplano kung paano ito pauunlarin. Like yung places na mahirap puntahan, pwede silang magplano related sa accommodation and transportation ng mga turista. Kasi 'di ba kapag madali na ang accommodation and transportation, mas madali na ang turista and maengganyo silang pumunta sa lugar na iyon. And at the same time, kailangan din magtanong sa mga locals if approved ba yung plano nila and wala bang maapektuhan. At kailangan din isipin yung outcome and plano, like dadami ba yung pupunta kapag na-implement na yung plano, and also kapag binago ba, magiging maayos ba ang resulta? When you invest in something, we must also think of the outcome or the result on what we invested, kasi maraming tao ang pwedeng maapektuhan ng dahil dito. Kapag maganda ang tourism planning and strategy ng isang lugar, talagang mapapakinabangan pa ito ng next generation, kasi dahil sa mga planong iyon, mamaintain nila ang kagandahan ng isang lugar up until the next generation. The fifth world tourism and hospitality issue is the use of e-commerce tools in tourism and hospitality. More than 50% of travelers in US use the internet in planning their travel and vacations. And this is growing globally. Dahil sa paggamit ng internet, mas napapadali na sa ngayon ang magpabook ng mga flight tickets, accommodations, and transportation using different kinds of apps. Mas less hassle na ito sa mga turista na gustong mag-travel, and by that, mas lalong tumataas ang bilang ng mga turista na pumupunta sa bansa. Kagaya na lang ng mga websites na pwedeng ma-explore while planning on going on a vacation. Pero di lang dapat may website, kailangan din makita yung mga features ng lugar para maengganyo yung mga turista na pumunta sa lugar na iyon. No website, less tourism traffic. Kapag ang isang destination ay walang website, may instances na bababa ang bilang ng mga turista, kasi nga mahihirapan yung mga turistang mag-book regarding sa accommodations and transportation sa lugar na iyon. And through the help of e-commerce tools, pwedeng mapalago pa ang turismo in the future, and by that, marami nang magbabago. Mas magiging high-tech na ito, and mas madali na lang para sa mga turista ang magpunta sa kahit saang lugar nila gusto. Magkakaroon ng malaking advantage kapag may website and applications, dahil mas mapapadali ang pag-locate at ang pag-book ng mga turista sa mga destinations. The sixth major tourism and hospitality issue is tourism and hospitality education and training. New trends include the collaboration between tourism agencies and educators of tourism colleges and university to address the changing needs of the industry. Sa tourism and hospitality industry kasi, madaming innovations or maraming pagbabago. Kaya it's very important na palagi tayong updated, kasi yung uso ngayon, posible na hindi na uso sa susunod. Like for example, dati uso yung mga flyers for promoting a destination. Pero dahil sa nagbabago na nga ang generation, instead of flyers, they use social media and also website as a source of promotion. The University of Balearic Islands in Majorca, Spain has a masteral and PhD in tourism and environmental economics that is really unique, with students coming from several countries. It is a well-designed program which offers several courses. Like for example, tapos ka na sa college and gusto mong may mas matutunan sa kung ano pa ang meron sa tourism and hospitality industry, Pwede kang mag-master's degree, and after taking master's degree, pwede kang mag-doctorate degree para at least continuous learning. Marami ka pang mas matututunan na hindi mo natutunan nung college ka pa. Madadagdagan pa yung kaalaman mo within this course. A highly educated workforce is needed due to the continued growth and success of the global tourism industry. And because of the continuing growth of tourism industry, dapat madami kang knowledge and comes to this kasi nga nagbabago ang tourism and hospitality industry. Hindi ka dapat mag-stuck sa kung ano yung natutunan mo. You need to explore more para makakope up ka sa kung ano yung mga pagbabago na nangyayari sa industry na napili mo. Dahil nga laging may innovations at pagbabago sa tourism and hospitality industry, that's why the education and training is very important. New trends includes the collaboration between tourism agencies and educators of tourism colleges and universities to address the changing needs of tourism and hospitality industry. And because of the major changes and innovations that is happening in our industry, we need to have more knowledge about it. And again, my name is Claire Justine Ruz, and the next reporter will be Miss Norisalyn Sinomadal.
7. Emerging tourism markets. China and India are two emerging tourism markets in the near future. These two countries account for about one-third of the world's population. Each country's economy is exploding, and a greater segment of the population is anxious to travel. Both countries are emerging as important receiving and generating countries for tourism. Russia could also become a country generating and receiving tourists in the future. In terms of arrivals and tourist receipts, Europe continues to account for one half of the world's tourism market. Asia and the Pacific have been the fastest growing regional market, surpassing the Americas. The Americas will still be strong insofar as international tourist receipts are concerned, largely due to the combined influences of the United States, Canada, and Mexico. In terms of major generating and receiving countries, the United States and much of Europe will continue to produce millions of tourists every year. The United Arab Emirates will be an emerging tourism market. Gabon, Africa is another emerging market as they are an oil-rich country. South America could also emerge as a tourism market in the future. In the past, UAE is a small country that has been economically dependent on its petroleum industry. The UAE launched the first major indoor ski slope in 2001 in Dubai. This made UAE a global tourism destination. The UAE intends to launch many new tourism products over the next years. 8. Quality tourism products and experiences. Tourists demand greater variety, flexibility, and quality in their tourism products. Quality and tourism experiences is usually high on the tourist list. Space tourism, newest tourism product. A space trip packages cost $20 million. Dennis Tito, a U.S. businessman, became the first tourist to reach outer space in 2001, traveling in a Russian space shuttle to the International Space Station. The other were Mark Shuttleworth in 2002, Gregory Olsen in 2005, Anousheh Ansari, the first female space tourist in 2006, and Charles Simonyi, who paid $25 million for a 2-week trip to the International Space Station in 2007. In a very near future, Russia may begin to offer trips around the moon for $100 million. So far, Russia is the only country with an effective space tourism policy. Undersea tourism, exploring the ocean bottom. Undersea tourism is emerging as a tourism market that will likely expand in the future. Exploring the bottom of the ocean is not as expensive as space tourism. Volunteer vacations. Vacation can help less fortunate people or support humanitarian causes. This is another new global tourism product that is gaining popularity. 9. Partnership and strategic alliances in tourism. New partnerships are occurring, such as the partnership between the UNWTO and the meeting industry on November 28, 2006, in which the United Nations Tourism Satellite Account will measure the global economic contribution of the meeting industry. Other partnerships are introducing competition, the use of cooperation, and a competition in which the available opportunities are unlimited. Coopetition, the use of cooperation and competition in which the available opportunities are unlimited, like awarding of points to be used for other transactions. A recognized form of competition is the rewarding of frequent travelers with points, which can be used with car rental companies, hotels, airlines, and other components of tourism industry. Hotels that have strategic alliances with certain airlines will give the visitors points for room nights spent at a hotel, which accumulate and are redeemable for free airline tickets or upgrades or for use in booking future hotel rooms. Through strategic alliances, the tourism industry can maximize its use of outsourcing, particularly in the areas of cost effectiveness, cost reduction, and brand loyalty. Outsourcing can provide information on flights, weather, crisis management, or services that the traveler may demand. In short, partnerships and alliances in the tourism industry can help in the establishment of alternative companies and service providers.
The impact of health issues on tourism and hospitality. The 10th major tourism and hospitality issue is the impact of health issues on tourism and hospitality. Most travelers avoid the areas that have high risk. Disease spread more rapidly due to the travel, particularly through the international aviation. Travel is the main cause why the COVID-19 spread rapidly. The air travel in this industry, most especially the international travel, is a high risk. Fear of disease reduces travel demand. Like today's time, COVID is still in a high risk and most travelers are still afraid to take the risk. There are other diseases that affect the tourism and hospitality, such as AIDS, SARS, and foot and mouth disease. The hotel in different countries went down from the normal rating because of the outbreak. Many trips got postponed and cancelled. Every country should be strict in terms of people who is entering the country to avoid spreading the viruses. Tourism and hospitality organization must take leading role in the development and support of tourism and hospitality health measures and safeguards. Effect of natural disaster on tourism and hospitality. The 11th major tourism and hospitality issue is the effect of natural disaster on tourism and hospitality. Natural disaster affect the industry because most of the business inside the industry is more on nice view of a place. Natural disaster, like bad weather such as storm, can result a delay of flight and cancellation to the affected locations. Tsunami and hurricane can cause a huge loss to the industry because of the disruption in domestic and international tourism. Other types of disaster also can cause a lasting impact because of the destroyed property and such. Because of the negative effect of natural disaster, new public policy, tools, and best practices need to be developed that responds to natural disaster. Travelers need transportation system and alternative accommodation, access to telephones and other communication devices, and place to stay in case their present lodging is destroyed or damaged. Safety concerns include clean drinking water and the physical safety of tourists. Tourist organizations need to review contingency plans for workers. Policy formulation needs to address the following: provide the immediate needs of the industry and guests, long-term recovery and rebuilding, and lastly, prevention and impact reduction. Climate change and tourism and hospitality. The 12 major tourism and hospitality issue is climate change and its impact on tourism and hospitality. Global warming is a growing concern for travelers. The recent published research by the World Wildlife Fund documents the ecological footprint of human activities around the world, many of which are embodied in international travel and tourism. Research shows that the world's ecosystem is being degraded by humans at an unsustainable rate that cause irreversible damage to the planet as well as triggering populations declines at about 31% in land animals since 1970, freshwater creatures by 38%, and marine animals by 27%. Consumption exceeds by about 25% of Earth's capacity to provide resources and absorb waste. Recent projection by the Power Research Center show that global warming will cause major shift in tourism and hospitality with locations that have higher altitudes and latitudes becoming the winning, while warming countries experience declines by about 20%. Climate change can cause a ripple effect in tourism and hospitality. Climate change will affect which certain locations tourists will visit and at what times of the year. This shift in travel patterns and travel periods can have an impact on travel destination, which in turn affects the environment, which in turn changes when visitors desire to come. Tourism and hospitality managers need to look for information proactively and take the lead in creating responses to projected changes. Tourism and hospitality industry sectors should adopt long-term policies to protect their environments and their livelihoods. Local tourism and hospitality managers must focus on environmental issues to enhance the tourism and hospitality industry.